Welcome to the channel. This is Waga. We're going to do another LeetCode question, and the question in question is number 86, partition list. Right, so we're given a list and you're supposed to partition it according to a certain parameter. Like in this case, you're given a number, you're given a number x, and you're supposed to partition it in such a way that the nodes that are less than x come before the nodes that are greater than x, right? But you have to maintain the order, right? So in this case, we have one for, this is the original list, and the x in this question is 3. So we're supposed to return all the numbers that are less than s. So we bring 1, and then 2, and then 2, and then after that, we create another list. We'll create two sublists actually in this case. We'll create a list with this numbers and then a list with this numbers and then connect the two, right? So for example, if we can go through it quickly, let's take this. We have this with x plus 3, right? So copy, we could have two lists, right? So we could have list 1, and list 1 is just going to be the ones that are lesser, right? Are lesser. So in this case, we could have 1 pointing to 2, pointing to the next 2, right? And then of course pointing to null at the beginning. And then we could have L2. L2 is going to be the one for the greater than x. In this case, remember x is 3. So we will have wait, is it greater or equal to? Just greater. So less than and greater than. So if there's the exact node, like if we have 3 will be in the greater than, right? So less, and then if the node is the value we're looking for is actually in the list, it's supposed to be in the greater section, not in the less section. Okay, that has been understood. So L2 is supposed to be 4, and then 4 will point to 3, and then 3 will point to 5, I'm guessing, right? Let's just look. Yeah, so 4, 3, 5. So basically that. And then after you create this 2, what you're supposed to do is come to the tail end, the tail of the L1, and the tail of L1 should point to the head of L2, and then the tail of L2 should point to, I'm guessing, null. Or basically that's the idea. So it's pretty straightforward. Not much to think about or talk about. It's a pretty straightforward question. So now the first thing we need to do is create our dummy nodes, and the dummy nodes are initialized, the list nodes are initialized with the value of 0, so you don't need to pass in a value. You could just say L1, L2, and this is just going to be list node, and this is going to be list node. So we have L1 and L2, and we create pointers to the last node in the various lists that we're going to create. That is L1 tail and L2 tail, and these ones are going to point at the beginning to L1 and L2, like so. And after that, we check that our head, that we don't have an empty linked list, right? So we loop through by checking while there is something, right? Or we have not gotten to the end. And we can use a check whether or not the value in the head is less than the x, whatever x we're given, right? So we say head.val is less than x in such a situation, and if it is, we want to start with L1. So we say L1.tail, L1 tail dot next is going to be set to the head, like so, and after that we increment the tail, right? So that it can head to the next one. So we come here and we say L1 capitalize, don't forget to capitalize, tail, okay, I'm trying to capitalize. L1 tail is going to be set to L1 tail dot next, like so, and after that we do the same if the value in the node is greater than than x, greater or equal to. Remember, 3 will also be on the other side, right? So this one will be greater than equal to, or equal to. So it will be else, and we could do the same by saying L2 tail dot next is going to be set to the head. L2 tail is going to be set to L2 tail dot next, basically the same thing we did up there, dot next, like so. And after this, whichever of these conditions is run, we need to move our head to the head dot next, right? So we say head is going to be head dot next, right? We move our head one step down, and so by this time we have looped through our entire list. We've gone through every single node, and we have either assigned it to L1 or L2, right? So what we need to set is we need to connect the end of L1 to the beginning of L2, right? But remember, L1 and L2 are pointing to dummy nodes, right? So to do the connection, what we need to do is just say L1 tail, its dot next is going to be set to L2 dot next, right? So we have now connected the end of L1 to the beginning of the L2 node, right? And we need to terminate our L2 node by pointing it towards none. So we could say L2 tail dot next, and the next, it should just point to none in this situation. And then we need to return okay, I think this need to be on the same level as this, because it's not in the same, right? This is Python after all, right? So after we're done with this, we need to return the L1 list, right? So remember, L1 is pointing to the dummy node, so we could just say return L1 dot next, like so, right? Our head correct, it's supposed to be in the same if else block. So if either of these run, we just move our head to the head dot next, like so, right? And afterwards we run our code, and it's accepted, and when we submit it, it is also similarly accepted. The time complexity and the space complexity are both going to be O of n, because the sum of L1 and L2 is going to sum up to ln, and we're going to loop through every single node, right? So the time complexity and the space complexity are both going to be O of n, right? So thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.